The current state of Nigeria's hobbled opposition no doubt heightens concerns with palpable fears of the nation sliding into a one-party state. Today's discussion brings the state of Nigeria's democracy under close watch. I'm delighted to have Adewole, the SDP presidential candidate at Nigeria's 2023 elections. Glad to have you. And of course, I gather you're the CEO of Captain TV.
Just a founder, not the CEO.
Founder,
good
okay.
To see you indeed.
Founder TV, okay.
Yes.
Right, good to. What's your sense of, let's start like that. Or maybe I should start with, did you listen to a bit of what we talked about light, about NEP, about electricity?
Yeah.
What's your impression of it?
Well, you see, what they are doing, essentially, is to try to dwell more on creating the electricity market. And they are trying to follow the example in Chile and other places where electricity is not seen just from a strategic national development point of view, the way it was reflected in our first national development plan. They're not looking at it from a social service point of view. They are looking at it like creating a market for products. The only problem they have is that the product that they are creating the perfect market for does not exist. So it would be good for the government to dial down the issue of creating the perfect market. They should try as much as possible to make supply available. And it's an engineering question. There's no amount of change of language, things you can call that can run away from the fact that people will know when there's electricity. Remember how we used to talk of, we are now generating 5,000 megawatts. Now they've changed it to 5 gigawatts, so it's just same mathematical language. At the end of the day, people will know whether electricity is available, whether it's stable, and whether it's affordable. And it requires a lot of investment. Some of the investments have lead time. The problem with politics is that the president has only 4 years. And if you have an engineering project that requires 16 years of continuous investment, there's no need to lie to the people that you're going to fix it in 4 years. You will see many great people have fallen by the wayside. Bola Ige came and said in 6 months there will be electricity. If you listen to Fashola, by now we should be swimming in electrical currents. I believe that even maybe in his house now, he's probably running on a generator. So what we need to understand, and that was the advice I gave in 2001. I remember September 2001, I attended the National Council on Power, and I advised them that they should depoliticize power. They should make it an investment, just like you have to depoliticize healthcare delivery and things like that, because these things require time, require major investment, and I think the government should do more in terms of investing public money in the core areas. And the way we have relied too much on the national grid, the engineering requirements of national grid is too technical for the people in the ministry to manage. So we should do the other way around. I don't agree with the gentleman who said that, of course, the grid is cheaper if it works. But I think that microgrids and captive system are more manageable, are more reliable. And they need to also work on the excessive bureaucracy that they operate. I made a huge investment in my community. If you go to Ondo City, a huge investment in electricity. And I did it by solar. Second phase, I tried to engage the government, and I made a heavy investment in electrification using their grid. 1.5 years, they are still doing inspection. I've done all the engineering, I bought the equipment by myself, and when you buy all this equipment, everything is donated to the government automatically. NEMSA will not come and inspect until 1.5 years later, and all sorts of problems that they've created. So they need to dial down on the bureaucracy, work on affordability. The National Council of State should deal with it. The National Economic Council should deal with it, and all of them should come together and make the right investment the right mix of energy sources, and we should dwell very delicately when it comes to wielding power over thousands of kilometers. We don't have the executive and engineering capacity for someone who is in Ibadan to be relying on power coming all the way from Kenji, or someone who's in Yola expecting power to come all the way from maybe Afam. So you need to localize it, and some of the monkey business that they are doing with new hydropowers, like some of the ones that are now in controversy in various courts internationally, if the investment had been made in some of these power stations, by now capacity will have gone up.
Well, you talked about
litigations.
Yeah, you talked about decentralizing it. That's what the president did with the signing of the act, but only out of 36 states, only 27 have taken it up. So, I mean, I think at least the government has done something on that.
They are decentralizing the market. What I'm saying generally is that you have to make the power available. Even if there are statistics of capturing power, they're not capturing the investment that private people are making. They went to Tanzania, that they're looking for $35 billion. Do you know how much money Nigerians spend on their own?
All right,
let's come down. We can actually
let's come down
plan
to
the market better.
Even though you talked about not depoliticizing it, do you fear that Nigeria could become or is becoming a one-party state?
No, Nigeria is not a one-party state.
No. Do you fear it's delving, it's becoming? That's what I heard.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because the problem with politics is that the elite are the same. They feed off each other.
That's including you?
Yeah, mostly. The elites are the same. We just have to make a difference. The elite have the same political belief, almost everything. They disagree as to sharing your position and all of that. But we are trying to bring core ideological differences. It is difficult to pretend to be different when you are not different. That is why it looks like there's no opposition. Because when you believe in the same thing, when you rotate position in government, you behave the same way. You would see that President Tinubu is behaving like Jonathan, whom he liked to really oppose and organize and sponsor protests against, but he's Jonathan's times 10. So you will see that they behave the same way. What he was protesting against Jonathan for is doing it even far more than Jonathan did.
Like?
Removal of subsidy, for example, and so many other things like that, on the issue of accountability, for example, and things like that. What I'm bringing out of it is the fact that the Nigerian political elite are not different. They are this one single tendency. Because they are one single tendency, even when they are different political parties, it is easy for them to cross across each other, or remain in their party, sabotage their own party, to work for the other party, because they don't have any real difference. And until we have real differences, we won't see.
Now you've talked about sabotaging. Ologunagba, the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, blames a third force. Momodu was here. I discussed with him. He's also blaming a third force. Atiku accuses APC of bribing the opposition. The opposition Labour says counters out. And Nigerians are lamenting lack of a virile opposition party or opposition parties in the nation. What do you make of what is playing out?
Well, okay, now.
And with the opposition parties?
We, in the SDP, I can speak for the SDP. Though the right person to speak for the SDP will be SDP officials like Shehu Gabam, Agunloye, and the rest of them, and Rufus Ayenigba, who is the spokesperson. But what I can say is that all parties who are not in government are regarded as opposition.
That's what.
But the dynamic of Nigerian politics is not that way. Many of these parties are supposed to be in coalition. In fact, technically, PDP and APC are in coalition. Technically speaking, officially are in coalition, because when
you're confusing me.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Technically,
they are in coalition.
Break it down.
Okay, this is simple. Understand. A leader, a foremost leader of the PDP, is a strong minister in the administration of APC. Not only did he just go there in his private capacity, he got the clearance of his party, the PDP, to go and be a minister in APC, under APC government. you can't get that kind of clearance from NWC in SDP. They will not give it to you. So now, second to that is that, and we're not kind of displeased with PDP or angry with them or whatever, is the fact that if you look at their policies resemble the policies of the APC. So it is good for them to try to work together. What will happen is that in the future, in the near future, ideology will be the acid test to know which party is in opposition. Because Nigerian people don't like to be duped. Imagine how much opposition have mounted against President Tinubu since he became president. People will be duped if I come to power and I start doing exactly what he's doing. And that is why I'm saying that we should apply the acid test of ideology to say, the fact that your party is not in government now doesn't mean that you're actually doing opposition politics. It could be that you are doing coalition politics and you are now having issues among yourself as to how to share the spoil of office. Okay, that is very clear.
You've raised two issues, and we're going to address it. One is coalition. The second one is, what is really opposition? What should opposition be doing? A prof I interviewed here brought up that subject. But let's address the issue of APC was still or is still an amalgamation of political parties.
Yes.
Obi says he's not opposed to coalition. Are you seeing the parties coming together and working together towards seat, well, to take power from the APC? Is there a possibility of coalition of the opposition parties?
Yes, there should be coalition, but that coalition should lead to coalition. Any coalition that does not lead to coalition is not a coalition, because what you want to do is coalesce all the opposition parties so that they can oppose or collide with the ruling party. But if you look more like the ruling party, why will I be in coalition with you? Because so there must be an ideological convergence. What we are trying to do as in SDP and some other partners is that we are trying to have a consensus regarding how governance should be done. We are not interested in ganging up to remove one person. They did that against Jonathan last time. Oh, Jonathan must go. So then Buhari must go. That didn't work, but they tried it in 2019. Well, coalition against Buhari and all of that. But to be against an individual is not an ideological framework. You must agree on what to do with power, what to do with the constitutional, what to do with rule of law, what to do with public expenditure, public revenue, what are the priorities in government, or all those things. If you don't have agreement on them, I have attended some meetings, and we discuss how terrible Tinubu is. I have no doubt. I know that for sure. But is that what I'm going to do my politics on? So what I want to get clear is, where do we agree? What's your view on power generation? What's your view on education? So why should I join you to remove Tinubu if that's the only thing you want to do, and you are going to be continue his policies or not funding education for God's sake, and asking kids to go and take loans to go and get a degree of which there's no guarantee of jobs and things like that? Why would I join you to just oppose one person who is, in my own view, just too old for the job, and I'm going to bring another person who is even older than the person who's too old for the job?
Trump is 78.
Yes, Trump is 78, and congratulations to Americans. So the point I'm making is that
Biden before him was older.
Yes.
But anyway, let me address
they made a point out of that.
Sorry?
They made a very strong point out of that.
Well, at least he ruled for 4 years. He was still.
They have a system that can take a mannequin. You can elect a mannequin as U.S. president. They have a system. Though Trump is working very hard to see that system is challenged, but hitherto, there's a system in America that does not depend too much of what an individual is. There's a system going on. We don't have that strong. Are you saying, well,
we're not talking Trump. If I wish we were talking Trump, then we'll go into Trump. But Prof. Ikechukwu,
yes,
postulates that opposition is not just reeling out press statements,
yes,
which opposition parties seem to be doing, but that real opposition is offering counter if you like, you add the word better policies. For example, I know that you have criticized, maybe I'll get to that if I have time. You recently said you're not against Tinubu, but against underdevelopment, insecurity, poverty, devaluation of Naira, wastefulness, and that characterizes government. I mean, that these are your what you've said. But the point is, are you offering alternatives? That's what Prof. Okay is saying. That the opposition doesn't seem to. It's not about press statements, but about if this policy is wrong, if you tell someone not to smoke, tell him what he should be doing so he won't.
We did all that in the last election. We offer policies. We offer policies on every issue. We even came to Arise TV to have deep policy debates. We disagree, and we're clear. We give alternatives to subsidy removal, alternative to floating the currency, alternative to the management of the economy, alternative to revenue generation. We give alternative on education, on healthcare, and all of that. So we have the alternative. The issue we need to understand is that we are not in a parliamentary system of government where everybody who has a voice is a member of parliament already. So we have to do our own discussion on the street. Secondly, we oppose some of their measures, including where we need to protest, we do protest. Where we need to offer alternative, we do offer alternative. And we go around the country to hear people and to interact with them and to sell our alternative viewpoint to them. I think that there is no single window that is available for opposition to challenge our point that we have not been doing, at least in the SDP. There may be other political parties who just focus on personality or regionalism or other things like that, but we cannot comment on them. But we always come out with alternative policies for the consideration of the electorate.
Professor Jibril Ibrahim, democracy advocate, he's against the idea of my party, few individuals or a few individuals owning and funding the party. What do you think? He pointed that out as one of the dangers of democracy in our system. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think that an individual owning a party is a good thing, and I don't think it's a real thing, because PDP, for example, was set up in 1998. It wasn't by one person. SDP
funding.
Yeah,
funding, where you have rich individuals seemingly taking over the party because they have the funds.
Oh, well, that's bad. I'm not a member of their party, but in SDP it's almost impossible, because in SDP, first we were set up 1989 during the military transition, and when we were revived by Chief Falai and the rest of them, and we came back in this current iteration, no individual owns that political party. The person who is chairman now is a joiner. I am a joiner. The secretary, most people there were joiners, and we are funded from the grassroots. And we also emphasize to the people that money politics is not the best. I think the problem of the other political parties is the fact that when they are in government, they try to use government resources to fund their activities, and that's why their governors become powerful, or their ex-governors become powerful, because when your politics is based on money, those who have money would dominate. But in a party like SDP, where the party's politics is based on ideology, those who are deep thinkers, those who can explain the ideology, they tend to be the candidate of the party.
Where does all this leave the electorate? Do you subscribe to the fact that the electorate is getting the short end of the stick when it comes to choosing its leaders? How do you change that narrative? Atiku said the problem of democracy, the biggest problem of Nigeria's democracy is judiciary.
Well, I wouldn't say judiciary is the biggest problem of democracy. The biggest problem of democracy are the politicians. Because it's the politicians that rig elections, and it's the politicians that file petitions. So judiciary is just intervening. Of course, it's unfortunate for the judiciary that on many occasions they have not been able to do their own part. But they are not the cause of they are not the main cause. The main cause is that the political class is full of desperate people who don't want to win fair and square, and who don't want to accept even when they lose fair and square. And they use all kinds of methods. So the judge that is a good judge is the judge that gives judgment in their favor. The judge that doesn't give judgment in their favor is a bad judge. But the issue we need to deal with is the fact that the Nigerian electorate need to understand that they are the makers of people in power. And that, however boring it may seem, they need to listen more to what politicians are saying and what they want to do. And they should resist the temptation. I know it's very difficult in terms of punishing economic difficulty like this, to not sell their votes. If you don't sell their vote and you vote in an enlightened way, you will be able to have a government that can work for you. It's a work in progress. Democracy takes time, but you must do the work, which is that as a good citizen, you must understand the power of the vote, you must listen, and we who are in politics, we go around. I've done 4,000 kilometers in this, just over the last weekend, going from Katsina to Jigawa to many places, going all over, try to talk to people. And I think we might be able to show to the world and to the general people that there are still patriots in this country. And President Tinubu will be highly, highly surprised by the time 2027 comes. And I will be grateful that he has served. But I think he should be thinking of a handover note.
Oh, well. Oh, well. It's good to hope.
And we're going to work.
Thank you so much, Adewole, SDP presidential candidate 2023 elections, for being on Prime Time.
Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Indeed. You're watching Arise Prime Time. Yes, we'll do this again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.